Okay guys, so hello and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today we are just going over the hardest part of being a beginner, and what nobody talks about basically, even in the beginning, or even why. And let's jump straight in because I, like always, just prepared something for you guys. And yeah, let me actually escape it. Okay, so wait, like my keyboard is actually so, and I think my cam is kind of, yeah, okay, you can read it. Okay, so most people, only show the wins, if it's courses, anything like this related, I see that always the guys are just showing, wins, the money, the system, the confidence, just wanting to buy you in on their success. And what nobody talks about is what it really feels like at the start. It's, what people show is like these instant wins, the money, systems, confidence, and just the success. But the reality is just nobody talks about the doubt you're gonna have on, even the journey in the beginning. I mean, like the amount of doubt I had, even have right now, because I would say myself, say to myself, I'm still a beginner, obviously. I'm like 2 months in, which is like nothing, in business terms, because they obviously guys are doing it like for 30 years. So guess like 2 months is a beginning. So yeah, but confusion, slow days, I have days where I do way less than days, than other days where I'm like actually doing double that. I'm not even trolling. This is obviously, this just is a part of it. You have bad days, you have good days, and obviously also the emotional weight, like the voices in your head are like, just doubting you, like saying, is this even worth it? And these are all emotional weights that you have in your mind, which is like actually like a freaking backpack in, like, I don't know, like 45 pounds, which make your life just way harder. And obviously also the feeling of not knowing if this is even, the right fit for you, or the right business model for you. And yeah, this is just where the real beginner journey even starts, because the real hard part is obviously, the hardest part is not the work. It's, waking up every day and still, getting up with a smile, and keep asking, is this even possible for me? Am I doing this right? And obviously also, is this worth my time? This is like the most excuse that I heard. And also, did I waste money on the wrong thing? And this is especially if guys are paying for some courses, they want to refund because nothing worked. Like, there are some fake courses out there, but really, really many times guys are just, center my cam a bit more down. Many guys are just, saying, okay, this didn't work out for me very easily, so just gonna refund, to not waste the money on it, to basically, not waste the money on the wrong thing. So, but what if this is all just another distraction? Is also a good one, just holding you away from the big opportunity, for the new big opportunity. And this is obviously internal questioning that makes the beginning mentally exhausting. And because the work is one thing, is obviously, but carrying uncertainty every single day is something else. That's obviously, and this is just a beginner progress curve nobody expects, because I wanted to map this out, kind of, how I see it, or how I saw it. I cannot say it like this because, sorry, because I can't say it like this because I haven't signed my first client yet. I'm gonna be honest. I'm like still again in my like early days, I'm guessing, but I'm really, just wanting to get you guys kind of in the right headspace. So, obviously the first stage, I guess, on your journey to make this is like actually a predictable, journey that really like always comes up. Okay, so you get this new big opportunity, you think it's gonna change everything, then you're going to get reality checked, but not as hard, just seeing, okay, this is a bit harder than I thought, and it's not like making me money in 2 weeks, maybe like 3 months, and then the frustration or basically the reality check comes in and nothing is happening at all, and you think you're wasting time, you think you're like burning for money, and the only thing which is like literally stopping you at this stage, because in this stage you often already have the knowledge, you already know what you do, you already know all of these things, but you just need to practice more. And there's the doubt, obviously, and just gonna ask you, was this a mistake, buying this course, wasting this money, wasting my time, wasting, I don't know, everything that comes into these thought questions. And eventually, if this is obviously where most people are quitting. And yeah, obviously after that, if you already know what you're doing and then you're practicing enough, then you are going to get your first small win. That's just makes sense. I mean, obviously. And this is obviously also signaling you, is this really, real? Is this a good opportunity for real right now? And then it's obviously, getting into the confidence or in the stacked wins, because then you see, okay, I signed this client, let me reach out to, I don't know, like 200 more, and then you sign another one and another one. And then you basically, have this feeling of, you understand what everything is about. And obviously, again, broken down, the dangerous phase is in the middle, the value where nothing seems to work, or the valley where nothing seems to work. And this is obviously the biggest point where guys quitting right now. If I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of in this same space. I like literally have many, doubts right now if that's what I'm doing even worth it, shadow operating. And I'm also like learning appointment settings because I want to get more into sales. But yeah, I want to do that also. I mean, I know like 2 things at a time are like kind of but I literally structured it good for me, because I actually, want to learn sales because I need it. So I need this skill eventually. If it's like in a year or in a month, it doesn't matter. I need to have it. So like, that's again, the next point is like, everybody today is like looking for the best business strategy, for the best business model, and just wanting to make money without even having the skills in the first place. So you always have to think about it in that kind of sense. You want to make more money than like literally, like let's say you want to make 10k a month, okay? You want to make more money than like literally 80% of the humans on earth, and you have no skill set. I mean, it's possible with AI today, but there are kind of limits where this can like drag out obviously your time, because you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what sales are, you don't know what anything about this is. So you always have to calculate this with your doubts, because you're obviously a beginner if you're watching this as me. You have to understand also that you have to even practice the skill to even judge yourself by it, because right now you're trying to, I'm assuming you're in one-on-one business. If you're a beginner, you never closed the client yet, you never got in any sales calls. It's obvious, if you've never done something, it's gonna be terrible at first. It's very obvious. That's why I would even recommend you, before even going into this one-on-one thing or making it separately, if I can say it like this, like be an appointment setter for a huge company to get huge connections, to get more value out of it. And that's what I'm trying right now. Or be a sales rep. I mean, sales rep is a bit difficult in the beginning, because if you're an appointment setter for the phone, this is for the beginning way better, if I'm gonna be honest, to not have this huge or major position that you're in, and still be able to make like good money even from it. So but this is obviously where most people leave. And the trap that most beginners fall into is obviously, you know, jumping from a new thing to the next big thing or shiny object. That's a new course, a new niche that's like ultra trending, a new strategy that is outperforming everything right now, a new platform, a new AI tool that's coming out right now, and it's saving you everything, and it's gonna save your whole business, and a new business model. You don't have to switch business models every freaking 3 months. And very important, it feels productive because, you know, every new things give you this temporarily hope, which in reality are just constant switching resets the learning curve every time. And this is obviously very true in reality because, you know, if you're always learning a new thing, that's obviously boosting your dopamine system because, you know, you have to think about your brain like this. You know, it's like it's getting this new thing and then it's being rewarded by you, for it to even learn it in the first place. And obviously it's gonna dig deeper, obviously. But if it stops getting dopamine, getting into this area where, you know, you're not signing any clients, you know, you're not getting any response on your outreach and anything about that, obviously then, you know, your dopamine system starts, and that's where your brain doesn't get rewarded. So what does it think? It's a bad opportunity for you. And, you know, this is obviously, you never stay in one place enough for, you know, progress to even compound even in the first place. It's like starting a YouTube channel like me and thinking you're gonna have like 1K followers in like, I mean, this is possible, but it's not the norm. It's not usual to have like 10K followers with 1 month of posting. And, you know, this is obviously why many beginners stay, you know, busy for months without even, you know, real growth, because they always learn, but you have to actually go out in the real world and have to, you know, try out. You have to get real experiences, you have to have real conversations, and that's how you learn. It's not always, you know, watching videos, watching courses, watching new strategy. You have to be and pro in real-time executions. That's a good businessman or owner. You have to be a good executioner, essentially. And that you can't learn that through your monitor or your device. You know, you have to go really out there and essentially execute. And the biggest shift for me was actually realizing, you know, the beginning was supposed to feel uncomfortable. It's very important because this just sets your expectation as, you know, this is gonna be hard. I have to prepare for it to be hard. And this obviously switches your mental very hard because, let's say this was a very good example that I heard. If you're giving, you know, like, let's say you want to send your first client right now, okay? And you're giving it a time goal. You know, what happens if you don't get it in the time goal? You know, you don't have any control over it. If they answer, if they want to, you know, get a partnership with you or get a deal with you. And again, this is just, you know, what's gonna happen? Obviously, you're gonna quit because you think you failed, you think you did nothing. But the reality is you did something, because, you know, you have to also, you know, push or outreach some guys to even have a chance at this in the first place. I mean, if you didn't did it, obviously, you know, it's way more a losing factor for you even to judge it by that. But you always have to make, not like, how can I say this? You have to make action-based goals. What I mean with this is, you can control how many outreaches you are gonna send a day. You can control how many pages you're reading a day. You can control like how many hours you have a day to, you know, not waste a single minute of it. You have to, you know, these are all actions that you have control over, but you can't control if from 100 are 10 responding, you know. This is just something you have to track, obviously, and have to improve, but you don't have any control over it in the first place. So you can make a like valid goal off of it. I mean, you can say like, okay, this would be my goal for improving this to this standard. But then you can't just really give a time frame on it, because obviously you can't do that, because if you don't get it, it's a lose that wasn't even a lose in the first place, because you've tried your best, you've tried everything you can, but it just wasn't your time for it. And this is obviously where doubt is normal, and slow days are normal. Questioning yourself is normal, obviously. If you don't question yourself, think about this. If I would sell you like 10,000, I don't know, like a bottle of water of $10,000, and you would never question yourself, like, then you essentially would just buy it. I mean, obviously, this sounds stupid for you, because you question it, you question yourself. And that's obviously a much more different example right now, and a much more extreme example. But the people eventually win are usually not the smartest, because they know just how it works, because smart people are always, well, not always, more usual to just quit when it doesn't work in the first place, because they in school and everything like this, they are thinking everything is just gonna work out if they follow the plan, if they follow the guide, essentially. And that's just not how life works. It's like you can do everything right and still miss your opportunity. It's, you have to, this was also like a very good thing I heard, you have to basically match your input or your action that you have on a daily basis, and be in the right spot with right timing. These are the three things that you have to consider for you to even get your first client, to have this luck, to have it's, to everything is amount of luck, but you're just kind of minimizing it with your input. And this is simply the ones who start restarting. They start with the process long enough to let the invisible work become visible. It's obvious, and the real skill at the beginning is, the skill is not confidence. The real skill is staying consistent before confidence even arrives in the first place. And this obviously builds something more durable than motivation even in like 100 years, because it builds self-trust, patience, resilience, emotional control, and identity strength. These are very important factors that are helping you. And yeah, this is like the most important thing to not only, like, how can I say it? If you only work on your business and not on your personal life, especially in things like this, you're not making yourself ready for calls, or taking care of you personally, or making yourself smarter, then you obviously in this space you're wrong, because the guy who's basically looking at you at the call, he's looking at you and thinking, okay, does this look like a guy who can who I can trust, who I can like spend 5k on, so he still gives me the results, so that he can still give me the results. And if you look like, I don't know, like unclean dress, like I know this is not like the best dress because it's black, so it's like kind of looking a bit like hidden for you, like more like, I don't know how to say it, but the key point is just you always have to think this principle out, because a person who is like reading or having very much self-trust in his process, in his ability to even make the client money in the first place, or emotional control about them, basically them, like, how can I say this, like dealing with you, you say like you want to have a like 10% ROAS on everything they make, and they say no, you only get 5%, then you must have the emotional control to say no, that's not my worth. And or obviously if you don't have the leverage in the conversation, then you have to say okay, I have to take it, basically. I mean, not in their word, but you always have to consider this, because I mean, like as a beginner, obviously you don't have leverage even in the first place, but building these things are the most important objects that you have, And this obviously matters far more than short-term motivation. And yeah, this is just my final thought even on the whole topic. Yeah, I think in the phase you are right now, the top doesn't mean you're like failing, because if you would be failing, you would be giving up. You can't fail if you don't give up. That's my motto I had for everything I'm doing right now, because you can only like lose if you fail, lose if you stop. Okay, so now it's you can only lose if you fail. Bro, am I like really stupid right now? You can only lose if you give up. Okay, you can only lose if you give up. You can't really lose if you messaged 100 guys and got 0 responses. Then okay, this message is not working. I guess I'm gonna try a different one. That's not a lose, because you at least tried. That doesn't mean that it progressed you far, but I mean it helped you. And this is obviously the exact place where most people walk away, where they're sending for 3 days 50 outreaches a day, and then they sent like 150, got 3 responses, all of them didn't reply on the answer, and they quit. And obviously the beginning is supposed to test your patience, your ability to keep moving without proof, your emotional control, very, very powerful. Your patience is always the most essential thing to a businessman, because you always have to be patient with timing, luck, everything, especially in the beginning, guys. And obviously also your ability to stay with uncertainty, to have not this like this certainty of I'm gonna get the client next month, or something along of this is like obviously uncertainty. You have to stay, or the ability to stay with uncertainty. And this is obviously not wasted time. What you're doing right now, you're still not giving up, you're still not not doing nothing. You're not going back to your past self, whether that's gaming, whether that's I don't know, like just doing drugs, or doing just doing shit with your friends, just wasting time, just going to party. You're right now in a good spot where even while feeling doubt, feeling that you're wasting time, even though feeling you basically wasted money, you're still in it and still trying. And that's obviously very good for you, because that just shows you have patience. You're self-questioning yourself. You're very in a good spot right now, but you just don't know it yet, because you just have to better your executions, because you already know what you're doing in the first place. So you just have to better your executions to get the result you need or want. And this is obviously the phase that builds the version of yourself that is capable of signing these clients, being under pressure, being under stress, being under uncertainty, being under like all of these things. This is just forming your ideal self, your personalized self. Your personalized self was the wrong word for that, but it's just forming your dream character that you even wanted to be. And you have to kind of get to know that, because obviously in this situation where you're just here reaching out, nothing's working, you're just getting in this loop of this is not working, this is not working, this is not working, this is shit, and there's my time wasted. But you always have to think about the bigger picture, guys. If you think day to day, this is very, very, very bad to obviously also your mental health. You always have to think at least in weeks, because what I always do for that to be better for me is I always structure my like daily tasks that I know that I have to do every single day. On Sunday, I always know I have to do outreach. I always know I have to post on my PH operator channels or my shadow operating channels. I know that I have to read books. I know that with my pages, I have to just schedule this out. And you know, that's what I do on Sunday. And on the day I'm just, you know, doing my, you know, just expanding it with tasks that I need to do that right now, so I'm just gonna plan it in. And that's how I'm keeping track of my time, and, you know, thinking in weeks rather than just days. Because, you know, I mean, obviously weeks can also be bad. You know, week 1 can be good, week 2 can be good, and then all of a sudden 3 weeks in a row are just shit. But, you know, day to day is like more extreme. You know, if you have one bad day and you're feeling yourself over it, or, you know, having a conversation with yourself in your mind for like being better this day, this is very, very bad for your mental health, obviously. Also because, you know, if you're always thinking, okay, I'm a loser because I waste my time, like, because I said, I mean, obviously that's a different story. If, you know, you said you don't go to parties, and then you are going to parties, even though, you know, your best friend asked you, your girlfriend asked you, or I don't know, like what kind of example. That's obviously a different story, because then you broke your own word, so your self-trust immediately lowers or goes down the barrier. And yeah, the people, you know, obviously who stay through this stage become very hard to stop at the top, because, you know, they've been through it, you know, having not signed a client for 7 months, for 5 months, for a year, and then signing their first clients. Guys, this is like literally a whole different story, because if you sign your first client in your first 2 weeks, or week, even 5 days, I don't know, like first day, you know, it isn't as much worth to you as after a year. You know, it's obviously not as much worth for you, because you haven't invested that much in it. I mean, it's still the same, but it's, you know, it's obviously a very different story. And, you know, I don't want to, as you see it here, it's already the end of the presentation. I want to not like fully charge you with these informations, but, you know, the most biggest important thing that you guys can take over it is you know, from this video, is just very essentially that if you're right now in this phase, you know, of just nothing is working out, you know, the best thing you have to think of yourself is, you know, you haven't quit it yet. So basically, you know, even though you're thinking about quitting, you're not doing it because you know that this is the path that you have to do to be the best version of yourself. And, you know, make the 10K a month, you know, retire your parents, or I don't know, like buy the new house that you wanted, or buy the new car that you wanted, or anything like this in this area. You know, like, life is not always a straight line, guys. It's very important to know that, because, you know, life is very likely to a stock market. You know, it's going this, then it's going sideways, and then up again, and then very far down. And that's just how life goes, guys. That's just how life goes. And yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching, definitely. I hope this kind of helped you, you know, in your, I guess, situation right now. I think I'm uploading it also uncut, so that it, you know, comes over more real for you guys, you know, or yeah, that I'm just going to let it by that word alone. So yeah, but again, you know, thank you guys for watching. I hope you know, enjoyed this video. If you are struggling with this right now, just, you know, let me know in the comments what you're struggling with, what the specific problem is, and, you know, how long you're doing this for, and basically your thoughts, and, you know, just to basically let me know, so also you can, you know, view it in the future. If you sign your first client after 5 months from now, you're basically getting this feeling, you know, like, look, I doubted myself and still didn't quit, kind of that feeling. And yeah, but again, thank you guys for watching. You can also leave me some comment ideas, or some ideas in the comments, for me to go over in the next few videos. And